Having a strong currency means that the value of the currency is high relative to other currencies. This can be seen as a reflection of a country's economic stability and strength. When currency is weak, that can be really good for jobs, but it's bad for people who want to travel abroad or use imported products. And with the world getting more and more global, more and more products are imported, so that affects people's disposable income. Ideally, it's important to maintain a balance. Here's the list of the 13 highest and strongest currencies in Africa 2024, based on their relative value against the US dollar. The dinar, code TND, is the national currency of Tunisia. It is subdivided into 1,000 millim or millions. The abbreviation DT is often used in Tunisia, although writing dinar after the amount is also acceptable. Tunisia sits on the northernmost point of Africa and has fertile agricultural lands. It has an export-oriented economy, which is highly dependent on its petroleum and agricultural exports. It also has strong tourism and mining industries. The Tunisian dinar ranks first. It is the strongest currency in Africa and is one of the best-performing currencies globally. The dinar is the most stable African currency against foreign inflation rates and has low volatility compared to other currencies. The dinar, code LYD, is the official currency of Libya. The dinar is divided into 1,000 dirhams. It is issued by the Central Bank of Libya, which also supervises the banking system and regulates credit. The economy of Libya depends primarily on revenues from the petroleum sector, which represents over 95% of export earnings and 60% of GDP. These oil revenues and a small population have given Libya one of the highest nominal per capita GDP in Africa. After 2000, Libya recorded favorable growth rates with an estimated 10.6% growth of GDP in 2010. This development was interrupted by the Libyan civil war, which resulted in contraction of the economy by 62.1% in 2011. After the war, the economy rebounded by 100.5% in 2012. It crashed again following the Second Libyan Civil War. As of 2017, Libya's per capita PPP GDP stands at 60% of its pre-war level. The Moroccan dirham, code MAD, is the official monetary currency of Morocco. It is issued by the Bank Al Maghrib, the central bank of Morocco. One Moroccan dirham is subdivided into 100 centimat. The economic system of the country is characterized by a large opening towards the outside world. In the Arab world, Morocco has the second largest non-oil GDP, behind Egypt, as of 2017. From 2018, the country's currency, the Moroccan dirham, is fully convertible for current account transactions. Reforms of the financial sector have been implemented, and state enterprises are being privatized. Morocco is the world's third largest producer of phosphates after the United States and China, and the price fluctuations of phosphates on the international market greatly influence Morocco's economy. The high cost of imports, especially of petroleum imports, is a major problem. Morocco suffers both from structural unemployment and a large external debt. The cedi, code GHS, is the unit of currency of Ghana. It is the fourth historical and only current legal tender in the Republic of Ghana. One cedi is divided into 100 pesewas, GP. The economy of Ghana has a diverse and rich resource base, including the manufacturing and exportation of digital technology goods, automotive and ship construction and exportation, and the exportation of diverse and rich resources such as hydrocarbons and industrial minerals. Ghana is Africa's largest gold producer, after overtaking South Africa in 2019 and the second largest cocoa producer after Ivory Coast. It is also rich in diamonds, manganese or manganese ore, bauxite, and oil. The rupee is the currency of the Seychelles. It is subdivided into 100 cents. In the local Seychellois Creole, Seychellois language, it is called the rupee and rupee in French. The ISO code is SCR. The abbreviation SR is sometimes used for distinction. By population, Seychelles is the smallest country to have an independent monetary policy. Several other currencies are also called rupee. The economy of Seychelles is based on fishing, tourism, processing of coconuts and vanilla, coir rope, boat building, printing, furniture, and beverages. Agricultural products include cinnamon, sweet potatoes, cassava, tapioca, bananas, poultry, and tuna. The public sector, comprising the government and state-owned enterprises, dominates the economy in terms of employment and gross revenue, employing 2/3 of the labor force. Government consumption absorbs over 1/3 of Seychelles' GDP. Pula, also known as the Botswana dollar, is the currency of Botswana. It has the ISO 4217 code BWP and is subdivided into 100 TB. Pula literally means rain in Setswana, because rain is very scarce in Botswana, home to much of the Kalahari Desert, and therefore valuable and a blessing. The word also serves as the national motto of the country. A subunit of the currency is known as the, or shield, and represents defense. The names were picked with the help of the public. The economy of Botswana is currently one of the world's fastest growing economies, averaging about 5% per annum over the past decade. Growth in private sector employment averaged about 10% per annum during the first 30 years of the country's independence. Botswana's impressive economic record compared to some of its neighbors has been built on a foundation of diamond mining, prudent fiscal policies, and a cautious foreign policy. Botswana's economy is mostly dependent on diamond mining. It has the fourth highest gross national income per capita in purchasing power in Africa and above the world average. The nakfa, code ERN, is the currency of Eritrea and was introduced on 15th of November 1997 to replace the Ethiopian birr at par. The currency takes its name from the Eritrean town of Nakfa, site of the first major victory of the Eritrean War of Independence. The nakfa is divided into 100 cents. The economy of Eritrea has undergone extreme changes after the War of Independence. It experienced considerable growth in recent years. Eritrea's economy is predominantly agricultural, with over 80% of the population engaged in subsistence farming and animal husbandry. The country also has mineral resources, particularly gold and copper, granite, marble, and potash, which have become increasingly important for the economy. However, Eritrea faces various economic challenges, such as high levels of poverty, underdeveloped infrastructure, and a lack of foreign investment due to its isolationist policies and ongoing conflicts with neighboring countries. Additionally, the country is vulnerable to external shocks, such as droughts and fluctuations in global commodity prices. The loti, plural, maloti, is the currency of the Kingdom of Lesotho. It is subdivided into 100 lesente. It is pegged to the South African rand on a 1-1 basis through the common monetary area, and both are accepted as legal tender within Lesotho. The loti was first issued in 1966, albeit as a non-circulating currency. In 1980, Lesotho issued its first coins denominated in both loti and lesente, dated 1979. To replace the South African rand, the loti is at par with the rand, but the rand remains legal tender. The name derives from the Sesotho loti, mountain, while sente is from English cent. The economy of Lesotho is based on agriculture, livestock, manufacturing, mining, and depends heavily on inflows of workers' remittances and receipts from the Southern African Customs Union, SACU. Lesotho is geographically surrounded by South Africa and is economically integrated with it as well. The majority of households subsist on farming. The formal sector employment consists of mainly female workers in the apparel sector, while male migrant laborers work primarily as miners in South Africa for 3 to 9 months and employment in the government of Lesotho, GOL. Half of the country's population work in informal crop cultivation or animal husbandry. The Namibia dollar, code ENIC, has been the currency of Namibia since 1993. It is divided into 100 cents. Namibia is the 4th largest exporter of non-fuel minerals in Africa, the world's 4th largest producer of uranium, and the producer of large quantities of lead, zinc, tin, silver, and tungsten. Namibia has 2 uranium mines that are capable of providing 10% of the world mining output. The country's sophisticated formal economy is based on capital-intensive industry and farming. However, Namibia's economy is heavily dependent on the earnings generated from primary commodity exports in a few vital sectors, including minerals, especially diamonds, livestock, and fish. Furthermore, the Namibian economy remains integrated with the economy of South Africa, as 47% of Namibia's imports originate from there. The South African rand, or simply the rand, code ZAR, is the official currency of the Southern African Common Monetary Area, South Africa, Namibia, alongside the Namibian dollar, Lesotho, alongside the Lesotho loti, and Eswatini, alongside the Swazi Lilangeni. It is subdivided into 100 cents, and the rand and cents are separated by a comma. The South African rand is legal tender in the Common Monetary Area, member states of Namibia, Lesotho, and Eswatini, with these 3 countries also having their own national currency, the dollar, the loti, and the lilangeni respectively, pegged with the rand at parity and still widely accepted as substitutes. The economy of South Africa is a mixed economy, emerging market, and upper-middle-income economy, one of only 8 such countries in Africa. The economy is the most industrialized, technologically advanced, and diversified economy in Africa. kwacha, code ZMW, is the currency of Zambia. It is subdivided into 100 ngwe. The kwacha was first introduced in 1968, replacing the Zambian pound. The name kwacha means dawn in the Nyanja language, one of Zambia's major languages. One of the reasons it is one of the strongest currencies in Africa is that Zambia is the largest copper producer in Africa. The country has rich mineral resources, and with copper being the most dominant metal, mining of copper is done on a large scale. Zambia is a developing country, and it achieved middle-income status in 2011. Through the first decade of the 21st century, the economy of Zambia was one of the fastest-growing economies in Africa, and its capital, Lusaka, the fastest-growing city in the Southern African Development Community, SADC. Zambia's economic performance has stalled in recent years due to declining copper prices, significant fiscal deficits, and energy shortages. The Egyptian pound, code EGP, is the official currency of Egypt. It is divided into 100 piastres, or chirsh, or 1,000 millimes, but millimes are no longer used. The economy of Egypt used to be a highly centralized economy, focused on import substitution under President Gamal Abdel Nasser, 1954 to 1970. During the rule of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, 2014-present, the economy follows Egypt's 2030 vision. The policy is aimed at diversifying Egypt's economy. The country's economy is the largest in Africa by nominal GDP and 38th in worldwide ranking as of 2023. The Ethiopian birr, code ETB, the national currency of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, is issued by the National Bank of Ethiopia, which manages its value through a dirty float taught 1. Each birr subdivides into 100 centimes. The Ethiopian birr takes its name from a local word for silver. The economy of Ethiopia is a mixed and transition economy with a large public sector. The government of Ethiopia is in the process of privatizing many of the state-owned businesses and moving toward a market economy. The banking, telecommunication, and transportation sectors of the economy are dominated by government-owned companies. Ethiopia has one of the fastest-growing economies in the world and is Africa's second most populous country. Ethiopia expects itself to reach a middle-income status nation within a couple years, primarily expected to be in 2025.